You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to BATV's coverage of the launch of F. Staple and Associates Limited, the local agents of the University of Leicester. I am Tanika Bennett and I'll be your host. Stay tuned for all the highlights.
It's the official launch of F. Staple and Associates Limited, who is, by the way, the official agent for the University of Leicester for not only Jamaica, but the Caribbean. You're in for a great evening, that much I can tell you. We would like to thank all the persons instrumental in making this event a success. This is an important moment in history. It is one that we will never see again, the launch of Miss Staple. Wouldn't you agree? One that we will never see again. And so we are here tonight to celebrate with you, Francine, as well as partake in fine wine and cheese. How can I forget? But I just want to say to our beloved friend, because we're all here celebrating with her as she embarks on this wonderful journey. Who you're seeing here is who is here to support you. And we thank God even for the strength and the mind to be here, our creator. EduCenters Francine is therefore proud to partner with you on this journey. Francine, F. Staples and Associates, I declare, they said speak it into being, will be a success. We are looking forward to greatness and a good partnership. They say teamwork make the dream work, but it's not just a phase, because teamwork does make, have you ever tried pushing anything by yourself and get a little help? No, the power that help does. Teamwork does make the dream work. And so together, I am confident that EduCenters and F. Staples will do great things. Francine, mutual respect and a shared interest is why EduCenters have chosen to partner with you. So on behalf of EduCenters, everybody, thank you for being here.
You know, someone might wonder, what is my association with Miss Staple? And I see also a fellow educator here. We have fond memories of Miss Staple growing up from a little girl into this phenomenal woman whom we celebrate with this afternoon. And I will not bore you with it, but just to say, I saw in Miss Staple that she's destined to be a great woman. I said it to her after she passed her common entrance in my class to go to Excelsior. And one day she came back and I said, Francine, you are destined to be a great woman. And she said, yes, sir. I said, yes, you are. I call it the extra sensory perception, the ESP, told me that. And I must tell you, this woman has never let us down. She goes leaps and bounds. And the thing I like about her, she maintains her humility. She's the same Francine. You know, many persons who, while Francine in her early days was struggling and would have given up, as some of us would say, we can't bother. Things are not good, not going our way, not go on for me. Francine was one of those who said, I can achieve, I must achieve, I will achieve. And she worked very, very hard. And we are very proud of you.
EduCenters Information Services has been around for almost 20 years. And we are not just a training and development company, but we believe passionately about transferring knowledge. So the partnership with Francine through F. Staple and Associate, her wanting to share her wealth of knowledge as a professional in the security field, as well as sharing quality service through the services her company provides, which are the different degrees and master's program. EduCenters found pleasure in
partnering with her. We believe that together we can achieve more. We believe that together we can bring to corporate Jamaica as well as individual a more quality level of services through training and professional development. Anyone that places special attention on growth and development can develop themselves extraordinarily. I would advise anyone who thinks that there's a job or there is something out there that they can't do, just put your mind to it, put pen to paper and leap, because the summit of success, it is there for everyone to climb.
I met Francine Staple in 1999 when we were both at the port security. She came in as as the internal affairs manager while I was a young security officer. We both spent some time in the Corps, and then we both went to work on the Port of Kingston. When we started to work on the Port of Kingston, that's when I really started to see Francine evolving. She started to do the PSP program with the American Society for Industrial Security and encouraged me to do it as well. And then she went on to do her master's with the University of Leicester, and she's always been encouraging me to do that as well. But I've started to sign up with her this evening as well. But Francine has been one of those powerful, larger-than-life characters. She has really gone through a lot and overcome a lot. And to see where she is tonight, I'm extremely proud of her, and I've drawn some new energy and some good vibe from her going forward, and I can use some of that for my own personal development, of course. I think the business that she has chosen to venture in is excellent. It's right up Francine's alley. She has the years of experience, and one of the things she has been able to do over the years is that she has created very good networks. So she has stakeholders all over the place, and Francine has been able to garner a loyal fan base. She has all of these people, all of these places strategically placed. So I think she'll do extremely well. She will do extremely, extremely well.
And on that note, we take our first break, but don't go anywhere. Much more to come after this.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 frost spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just joining, we're here at the launch of F. Staple & Associates Limited. Now for more highlights.
I have had the honor of sharing Francine's journey for many years. First as her mentor, then as a friend and fellow professional, and now as a businesswoman in her own right. Let us give her a round of applause. I have watched Francine grow and progress with admiration as she has gone from strength to strength and risen to the pinnacle of her career, renewing and reinventing herself along the way and breaking all kinds of glass ceilings. As many of you know, the term glass ceiling is a metaphor used to represent an invisible barrier typically put in place to keep out minorities, especially within an established hierarchy. The term was originally coined by feminists and came to be associated with women in their struggles to break barriers in male-dominated occupations and professions, as well as in corporate and organizational structures. Glass ceilings, however, do not only impact on the lines of gender. They also impact on the lines of race, class, and socioeconomic status, and impede the progress of men and women of all walks of life in their bid to progress and be fairly assessed and promoted on the basis of their merit. So I'm not hung up on just the gender aspect of it, where we are looking at it as something which is, you know, against women. Men and women are involved in this whole issue. And this glass ceiling is kept intact by powerful interests who maintain the status quo and who must be hard-pressed to relinquish their control. Indeed, if we look at our own Jamaican experience, we will see that it was not so long ago when women were denied access to management and a range of other occupations, when people of color, be they black, Indian, or mixed race, could not work in certain institutions such as banks, and where even simple jobs could only be accessed by people from higher socioeconomic backgrounds, all through the old boy network and proverbial old school tie. At a conference some years ago, an erudite professor, quoting from one of his studies, said that men relinquished their power and allowed women into the bastions of power. In one of my more passionate moments, I stood up and challenged his assumption, asserting, "You never gave it to us, we took it." The room went silent, and I could feel the discomfort of some people who thought they might have a radical feminist in their midst. In my mind, however, I was just a proud Jamaican woman who never allowed barriers to impede me and would not entertain the idea of anyone in control of my destiny. Francine and I share this in common. And when she recently walked out of a high-profile, high-paying corporate position, she said to me, "I won't be pushed around and treated like an inferior in my profession and in my own country. I'm a proud Jamaican woman and I will stand up for my rights and my dignity." She was true to her words and astounded some of her business associates when she moved on and started anew. It came as no surprise to me, however. Today, although women can celebrate the fact that we have made strides in breaking some glass ceilings, there are still many barriers to break. And this is, again, I said, is not just women trying to break these barriers, it's men as well. I'm particularly concerned that with the influx of foreign investors, particularly in our hotel industry, Jamaicans must be careful not to be relegated to line and lower level positions, but must lobby and put ourselves forward to be considered for management and leadership positions. And we must never accept that some jobs are reserved only for foreigners. Certainly not when we possess the same or higher qualifications, proven experience and skills. So what can we learn from this journey of Francine in addressing the question, how do women and men break the glass ceiling? I have drawn from her experiences and that of other remarkable men and women who have shared their secrets of success, 10 essential factors, which include personal attributes and actions. Permit me just to share them with you quickly. Succinctly, they are: first, believe in yourself. Have a strong vision of who you are, what you want to do, and where you want to go. In other words, have a compelling vision and mission for your life. Secondly, seek out mentors and role models with the knowledge, skills, emotional intelligence, influence, and willingness to support, guide, and help you to grow and achieve your goals. Francine speaks a lot about her mentors, and she sought them out, and I'm so happy, Francine, that I was one of them. She's now mentoring me. Prepare yourself to go boldly where no one has gone before. Yes, it's Star Trekky. Study the terrain, the opportunities, threats, and trends. Then turn on the mindset of the pioneer. Call up the courage to go into uncharted waters. Map your path. Motivate yourself with positive visions and successful self-talk. Because there will be a lot of negative talk, even sometimes from people around you. And you have to do your self-talk. Francine has always done that in her life. That's why she's a hard bud for dead. Nothing will keep her down. Her self-talk tells her, I will and I can. Draw on the strengths of people, individuals, as well as networks of people who will support you. help you and cheer you on in achieving your goals. You have to stay away from the doomsday people who will tell you every reason why you can't. Fourthly, qualify yourself. Seek out experiences that will help you to grow and attain the necessary credentials, certification, diplomas and degrees, and technical expertise. But having this is not enough. We have to know how to apply knowledge. And I tell people who have all the education but don't know how to apply it that they're dying by degrees. And I don't want anyone to do that. Being able to apply what we know is very important. Make sure you know your own worth and what you bring to the table. Take constant stock of your achievements and conduct your own SWOT analysis so you will be aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, and all the things that you have to know about yourself to make important changes and decisions. It was a great pleasure to be here this evening, particularly seeing Francine taking this step into entrepreneurship and starting her own business. I always felt that she would, because I know that she's very independent and that she has her own ideas, and she has been through the corporate world. She's taken some positives from it, and she has also rejected the things that she feels are things that create a glass ceiling over her and don't allow her to achieve the things that she wants to. And no doubt, with her business, she's going to also impact not only the students that will come through her programs from the University of Leicester, but the corporate world and all Jamaica, because that's Francine. Having myself been in business for the past 33 years, I know that it has its challenges. And of course, we have to look at the impact of a transitional economy, an economy which in Jamaica has gone through a lot of ups and downs. We saw the boom in the 80s. We saw the crash of the financial sector in the 90s. And those of us who have stayed the course have to have a resilience and a belief in ourselves and in our country. I believe that Jamaica is a country that is poised for greatness. We have wonderful people, there's tremendous energy. But I think we have to create more opportunities for business people. I don't think that we have a particularly friendly climate, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises. We need to get everyone on board. Government has been trying, but we need a banking system. I think we need to revive the credit unions, who played such an integral role in the development of Jamaica's finances and indeed the Caribbean. And I think we need to come together as entrepreneurs and support each other. We really need to do that. You know, when I look back on the 90s, the big companies were bailed out by, out of their problems. Little companies like mine, we did our own bailout, and we were very cautious in not borrowing and in making do and so on. But there needs to be a certain degree of boldness if you really want to grow. I think that after the 1990s, many businesses became overly cautious, particularly businesses run by women. We don't tend to take such big risks. But we also, I think, were a bit frightened by what happened with the high interest rates. And we need a system that is going to be a catalyst for the kind of growth that we can get through talented people like Francine. And I see so many young people coming up, and they just need that hand up, not a handout. And I think we need to create a system within the financial sector that's going to meet that. That's what's going to create the real wealth in Jamaica.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Thank you for being here this evening, sharing in my launch of my business. Of course, it was told to you that it's a limited liability company. I am the sole director, and my friend of 30 years, Mr. Christopher Honeywell, he is my company secretary. The history behind my company. I had a 10-year plan when I entered Kingston Container Terminals. I entered there in 2006. And I made a 10-year plan, and my 10-year plan was true to form. I stepped out of KCT in 2017 when someone thought that, you know, they wanted to push me around, but did not know that I was a, bud? A hard bud for dead, right? So, I thought when I was called into that meeting and told of my transfer, my lateral transfer to another position, I said to myself, you know, I said to my expatriate CEO that I will give him 20 minutes to look over his proposal and get back to him. I took less than 20 minutes to reach my home in New Kingston and had a glass of red wine with my friend from London. I thought that I would not take any disrespect from no one in my own country, as I knew that I was not allergic to mackerel or sardines. I realized there was a game being played by so-called powerful men, and I decided I did not wish to be around that game of dominoes. I went and applied my trade in education as I planned. Little did I know that it was another game of dominoes. I then decided it was time for me to play my own game. That game turns out to be solitaire. The mission of my business is to offer quality service through education, training, and development. And I stand here proudly as the Caribbean representative for the University of Leicester, of which I'm an alum, because I did my master's in security and risk management with them. And it was a part of my 10-year plan to one day represent them here in Jamaica. I sought to single-handedly approach the University of Leicester based on the quality of the product that they offered whilst I was doing my degree through distance learning. The other core function of my business is really training and development. Training and development is very important. Do not always rely on your employers to send you to training. You must invest in yourself and do your own training. And it is also important to make EduCenters one of your areas that you come to do your training and development, because it is a course that you're charting out for yourself, because the world is a global space and no one individual can fill that space. It is important to individuals and company owners that they have trained, well-trained and developed professionals within their midst. Training and development may not seem relevant today, but it will be relevant tomorrow. Don't delay what you need to do today by leaving it for tomorrow, or it never gets done. Never be a put-off Paul or Pauline. Tonight, I'm very heartened to see the amount of friends, some I'm seeing for the first time from Facebook land, and well-wishers here, as indeed my journey from then to now was a difficult one. Wealth Magazine encapsulated that very well. And up until today, I have so many friends that I have made because of that program. I have not seen them. They're from all over the world as far as Ghana. People who appear strong can equally be broken. The strength overpowers the latter, all the time through God's grace and mercy. I will tell you, when you come upon those negative persons, you don't usher them out, but you pray them out. Know when the Lord is preparing you for greatness. all the termites will be coming out of the woodwork. Some you will spray and they die. Some won't, so remember this. In order to be great, you must display strength. My dream is for every single individual to chart their paths. Dream, realize those dreams, and move forward to implement those dreams. That dream or those dreams will prepare you for greatness. I want to thank you all very much for coming here this evening, sharing in my next 10-year journey. I usually have 10-year plans, and I won't retire when I'm 60 or 65. I will retire in another 10 years. So I thank you very much again for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with me, and I appreciate and love you all. Thank you. I will be representing University of Leicester here, so persons can pursue higher degrees in their area of expertise, and also to ensure that persons are properly trained and developed to meet the changing world. As Caribbean people, I consider us one body of people that is looking towards one goal. We are in the CARICOM space, and I'm sure that as Caribbean people, we have similar or differing cultures, but we will remain one Caribbean. And of course, going into the Caribbean to spread the educational knowledge that University of Leicester has to offer, it is important that I not only represent Jamaica, but I'm also proud to represent our Caribbean people. I'm basically the liaison for University of Leicester here. We will also be hosting different sessions in research, writing research paper, writing your dissertations. We will also assist persons with classes in terms of proofreading your documents. How do you proofread? We'll offer services as assisting persons to guide their thesis, and what are the things that they need to expect is to have full support and quality service from my company. I have gone through University of Leicester doing their Masters of Science degree in Security and Risk Management, and I can tell you, class, quality not only education but quality service. I thought that my money spent there was money well spent. Their support base in terms of managing your educational opportunities, managing your papers, they were always there. Your email sent, you're responded to immediately. Their Blackboard, their remote access portals, I mean, they are really amazing. It's an amazing university, and I really wanted to represent them, and it was in my 10-year plan to represent the University of Leicester, and I'm very, very happy that I'm their representative here.
And that brings us to the end of BATV's coverage of F. Staple and Associates Limited. Until next time, I've been your host, Tanika Bennett, inviting you to stay tuned to Business Access TV, serious about business.
And you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
The Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch is a fairly new unit of the police force. Their brightly colored bikes were hit on social media. Between the pages today, we give you the important details on this new arm of the force. This is Jamaica Magazine, and I am Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us.
So here are the facts.
7 out of 10 Jamaicans die from a non-communicable disease.
Because we love our people and we want them to live better quality lives,
we, the Ministry of Health and our partners, are launching Jamaica Moves.
Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases.
By educating and encouraging Jamaicans to be active.
Eat healthy.
and start living 30 minutes at a time.
Because 30 minutes of physical activity each day,
along with proper nutrition, can go a long way.
To prevent your risk from developing certain NCDs such as diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, and certain cancers.
And remember, it's life we're promoting. That's why you see me going hard right now.
I'm all about living.
So help us take this first step towards a healthier Jamaica so you can enjoy more moments, more memories, more life.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, November 27. Jamaica has signed a $285 million contingent credit loan facility with the Inter-American Development Bank. The funds are expected to provide immediate financing during the emergency recovery phase following a natural disaster. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement Monday during his address to the IMF's high-level conference on building resilience to disasters and climate change in the Caribbean. Mr. Holness says the loan facility is one of the ways Jamaica is creating and strengthening the national platforms for hazard risk reduction. Others include the planting of climate change resilient corals, mainstreaming climate change in every single endeavor of government, and including disaster risk financing in the state's fiscal policy framework. In the meantime, the Prime Minister has challenged small island developing states, SIDS, to broaden their disaster resilience dialogue with development partners to include slow onset events.
The Caribbean needs to immediately engage in fruitful dialogue with its partners with a view to comprehensively assessing all climate risks, assessing the available resources, as well as developing and implementing tools that are essential for building resilience to all climate-related impacts, not just the ones that we see happening every year during the hurricane season, or with major rain events or earthquake events, but those that are slowly eating away at our capacity to survive.
Prime Minister Holness also reiterated his call for multilaterals to find alternatives, such as a vulnerability index for SIDS to access climate change adaptation funding. The Vision 2030 Jamaica Secretariat says it has completed work to support the development of the 4th Medium-Term Socio-Economic Policy Framework, MTF. The document, which will be presented to Cabinet shortly for review and approval, underpins implementation of the country's long-term National Development Plan. Program Director for the Secretariat, Elizabeth Emmanuel, says the document covers 2018 to 2021 and has been reviewed by a wide range of stakeholders. She says 8 national strategic priorities have been shortlisted under the 2018 to 2021 MTF, in keeping with the 4 goals of Vision 2030 Jamaica.
These strategic priorities, along with their associated projects, programs and activities, will assist in moving Jamaica towards a secure and prosperous future for all our people.
Ms. Emmanuel was speaking at the Planning Institute of Jamaica's recent quarterly media briefing. The national goals are to ensure Jamaicans are empowered, the Jamaican society is secure, cohesive and just, Jamaica's economy is prosperous, and that Jamaica has a healthy and natural environment. Jamaicans now have access to a second National Linear Cancer Treatment Center, this time in Kingston. The center, which is located on the grounds of the St. Joseph's Hospital, was opened on Monday. It was constructed at a cost of $860 million with financing from the National Health Fund, the Chase Fund, and the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said cancer accounted for 70% of deaths among Jamaicans with non-communicable diseases annually.
I believe that what we have done over these many years, before my time and since my time as minister, is to effectively ensure that as a country, as a people, we have the most modern equipment to deal with those who are unfortunate enough to be diagnosed with cancer.
The opening of the Kingston Centre comes just over a year after a similar facility was opened at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says plans are now underway to develop St. Thomas as Jamaica's newest tourism destination. He says over $30 million has been spent on a tourism development assessment project for the parish. This includes a 6-month consultation with technical and skilled planners to design a St. Thomas tourism destination plan.
The government of Jamaica has targeted the parish for special development focus, and tourism has been selected as a key driver for that development.
According to Minister Bartlett, the assessment will guide product development and marketing strategies to sustainably develop the destination.
It related also to an infrastructure development plan, which is to see the realignment and creation of a new highway arrangement that will connect Kingston to Port Antonio along this corridor. And what it will do is to open up new areas for development.
He says consultants will now move into the next phase of preparing a tourism destination development and management plan for the parish. The minister was speaking at the recent official opening of the License Beach in St. Thomas. The Ministry of Gender has launched its No Excuse for Abuse public education campaign in an effort to end gender-based violence in Jamaica. At Sunday's launch, State Minister Orlando Tarilong appealed for Jamaicans to join the government in ending violence against women and girls by not turning a blind eye to such acts. He was representing Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange at the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women church service.
This is not another campaign to sensitize people about the horrific effects of violence against women. We all know the horrific effects of violence against women. This campaign is about behavior change. It is about destroying the conditions that enable, condone, and treat violence against women as a normal part of life.
And finally, the Jamaica Defence Force JDF is investigating the circumstances surrounding the cause of an emergency landing of one of its helicopters on Monday. The pilot, who was the sole occupant, landed the aircraft in an open field in Dunbeholden, St. Catherine. He was taken to the hospital for medical evaluation. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has expressed gratitude that there was no loss of life as a result of the incident. Meanwhile, the JDF's Civil Military Corporation and Media Affairs Officer Major Basil Jarrett is urging residents to keep away from the site of the incident. He's also asking the public to report any aircraft parts found to the JDF headquarters at Up Park Camp by calling 876-960-8776. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
$650 students, $100 million. How are they connected? Through the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program offered at 32 high schools across the island. It's a 2-year program to equip future tourism workers with the requisite skills to meet the demands of the growing global industry. Graduates will be certified by the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute and received an associate degree from a local college. We're building a resilient tourism industry through human capital development.
Up next, the whereabouts and activities of Prime Minister Andrew Holness during the past week.
Prime Minister commits to delivering security, jobs, housing, investments, and better roads to Montego Bay. Expresses satisfaction with the pace of works on the 3 Miles bypass and pledges support for innovations in science and technology. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Stay tuned. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is now in the United States capital of Washington, D.C. for the International Monetary Fund's Conference on Building Resilience to Disasters and Climate Change. On Monday, Mr. Holness addressed the IMF's high-level conference on the Caribbean's experience in building climate change resilience. During his time in Washington, D.C., the Prime Minister held bilateral discussions with the IMF head and leaders of other multilateral agencies. He also addressed the diaspora at a town hall meeting. Prime Minister Holness will then head to Buenos Aires, Argentina for the November 30 to December 1 G20 Leaders Summit. Under the theme, Building Consensus for Fair and Sustainable Development, Mr. Holness will speak to climate change and energy transition and hold bilateral talks with other global leaders. The Prime Minister will close out his international engagements in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago at the 18th Special Meeting of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME. The CARICOM chairman will also hold talks with the country's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley. Dr. Horace Chang is in charge of the government until Mr. Holness returns on December 5. Before his departure, the Prime Minister issued 57 awards to youth who've made invaluable contributions in various areas of national life. At Saturday's Prime Minister's Youth Award for Excellence, Mr. Holness praised the awardees for their work and pledged to continue to see to their development.
Your self-actualization is the actualization of the entire country. Your success is the success of our beloved nation. We want to work with you. We consider your views and ideas important. We want to involve you in charting the direction of our country. We are unwavering in the pursuit of the development of every single young Jamaican.
The 57 youth were drawn from 12 categories, including nation builder, academics, sports, art, entrepreneurship, and science and technology.
Generally, I'm satisfied that China Harbour is moving very quickly to have the work done, and that the quality of work is up to the highest standards possible.
Mr. Holness said he was pleased that the 3 miles bypass road which connects Chesterfield to Marcus Garvey Drive was 90% complete. He disclosed plans to improve drainage, install streetlights and increase security along the bypass.
It will be part of the patrol schedule of the Hunts Bay Police. It will probably, in the initial stages, have to be manned by the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. Public safety is priority, so we will put in place whatever measures are necessary to ensure that the road is safe and secure.
Speaking to the 3 miles interchange at Portia Simpson Miller Square, Mr. Holness said works were progressing rapidly and smoothly. On Thursday, the Prime Minister shared his plans for the further development of St. James during a town hall meeting in Montego Bay. Among the plans are initiatives to increase the housing stock and job opportunities, reduce congestion and improve safety and security.
The government is not going to relent. The government will implement measures and stick with them for as long as it takes to bring genuine security to your communities.
The Prime Minister also threw out a challenge to the parish's business community.
I am appealing to the business people to start making the investment in the linkages, particularly in agriculture, so that more of the revenues earned from our sun, sea and sand can come back here to Jamaica and benefit the people of Jamaica.
And during the question and answer segment, Prime Minister Holness pledged to implement regulations to protect BPO workers, as well as to support craft vendors and small business owners at the shoe market. The Prime Minister also addressed closing time for businesses under the state of emergency, training opportunities and the stipend for HEART participants, as well as the new Road Traffic Act.
There are issues that have to be addressed, but I give you the assurance, I give every single taxi man the assurance that the new law that is put in place will be applied fairly and justly.
Thursday's town hall was held at the closed Harbour Beach, which is tapped for a $1.3 billion development project. It's a joint venture between the Urban Development Corporation and the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Prime Minister Andrew Holness was on hand Wednesday to participate in the biennial National Medal for Science and Technology and Innovation Awards ceremony. Former Prime Minister Edward Seaga was honored with a 3D portrait of himself for outstanding contribution to the sector's development. Other Jamaicans were awarded for their innovation and creativity in several fields, including Joy Spence, who copped the National Medal for Science and Technology. Chris Daring of Ready TV won the National Innovator of the Year award. Dr. Shade Foster received the Young Scientist of the Year award, while healthy sugar product creator Jordan Freeman walked away with the Youth Innovator of the Year award. Awards were also given in the categories of food and agro-processing, engineering and manufacturing, environmental sustainability, engineering and energy, education, as well as health and safety.
I am extremely happy to witness the push for increased awareness and participation in science and technology and innovation across the length and breadth of the country. It is one of the ways in which we can find the hotspots of creativity and nurture them into enterprises that will be successful nationally and globally, building on the strength of brand Jamaica.
Back at his office, Prime Minister Andrew Holness held talks with a delegation from the Young Entrepreneurs Association of Jamaica, YEA. Tuesday's meeting came a day before the association's annual expo for National Entrepreneurship Week. And on Wednesday, Mr. Holness received representatives from the Postal Corporation of Jamaica. The team updated the Prime Minister on developments in the sector, including the $47 million being used to transform the island's postal service into an international system. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Do not leave valuables such as gifts, laptops, and cell phones in plain view in your car. If you have to leave these items in the vehicle, put them in the trunk. This will decrease the likelihood of a car break-in.
Over the years, hundreds of Jamaicans have studied abroad, free of cost, courtesy of a government scholarship. Find out now if you or a loved one may qualify for such a scholarship or tuition assistance. Take a look.
Hello and welcome to Finance Matters, a production of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. I'm your host, Daniel Pasley, and today we'll be focusing on some of the scholarship opportunities provided by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And here to speak to us about this important topic is Ms. Danielle Hall, and she's a part of the Scholarships and Assistance Unit. Danielle, thank you for coming on the program.
Hi, Danielle. Thanks for having me.
Now, what are some of the responsibilities of the Scholarships and Assistance Unit?
Okay, the Scholarships and Assistance Unit is a branch of the Strategic Human Resource Management Division of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. The unit is solely responsible for fostering tertiary level education, and we do so through various donor agencies and countries, and we have bilateral and multilateral agreements with these countries to offer to Jamaican citizens scholarship opportunities for them to study worldwide, if I may say so.
And what are some of these programs?
Okay, for the Scholarships Unit, we offer throughout the year the Cuban Jamaica Bilateral Program. We also offer a scholarship from the Government of China. We offer the UK Commonwealth Scholarship, which includes the United Kingdom and New Zealand for students who are studying their Masters and PhD. For the Cuban Scholarship, that is for students between the ages of 18 and 25.
Right.
Now, each year, Cuba sends to us their disciplines, and we offer it to Jamaican citizens. And I can tell you, we have a huge amount of indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And that scholarship is usually advertised between February and April of each year, as well as the China Scholarship. So these two scholarships run concurrently, and persons are invited to apply and submit their applications to our office. We usually have the scholarships open for about 2 to 3 weeks, after which we do a screening process and a shortlisting. Then we contact the shortlisted persons.
And what are some of the things that you are looking for in the screening process?
Well, we usually have an eligibility criteria that is advertised with the scholarship. So most times once the persons meet the eligibility,
no problem.
Then we usually shortlist it. Sometimes shortlisting can be a bit tedious because all these students are doing so well in their academics, but we usually ensure that they have met the requirements. We also offer the Organization of American States Scholarship, the OAS, that covers the USA, Canada, South America, and Latin America. Now, this scholarship only funds the last 2 years of any program. So, for example, if a student is studying medicine and they're in their final 2 years, they may apply for this scholarship. If that student is a Jamaican, they can apply to any other country except Jamaica. So once they have been enrolled in a program outside of Jamaica, they are eligible to apply for this scholarship.
And as it relates to the UK or the Commonwealth Scholarship, with the master's students, do you find that there are many persons who are applying as well?
The master's program and the PhD program gets the same attention. Students are doing very well, and once they have completed their bachelor's or their undergraduate studies, they are ready and willing to move on to higher learning. So we have the same influx for masters as for bachelors.
That is the end of Finance Matters this week.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
So by now you might have noticed the new neon-colored bikes and clothes on roadways in the corporate area, St. Catherine and Montego Bay. Well, the Jamaica Constabulary Force has launched its Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, a division designed to maintain safety on our roadways.
High visibility clothing, new neon bikes, and a continued commitment to serve, save, and secure. The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF's fairly new police division is designed to maintain safety on our roadways. It's the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB. As of August 29, 700 members have been deployed across the corporate area and St. Catherine to allow for greater traffic management and safer public spaces. But what exactly is PSTEB?
PSTEB is a merger between the Motorized Patrol Division and the Traffic Division. And what has caused that is because of the rampant disregard for the usage of the road. Apart from that, we realize that we need strength of personnel on the roadways to deter some of the things that are happening.
And what of the branch's roles and responsibilities?
Our mandate is really to cover as much intersections and corridors as possible to ensure that the regular offenders desist from doing the regular things that they used to do. Every corner you turn in the Harper Tree area, in Walton Park, down by East Avenue, where we have the one-way, we have presence there to ensure that the rules of the road is maintained. When you come out of Portmore, for example, or people coming from the country, and they come into Marcus Garvey, and they diverge in East Avenue. Once it's East Avenue, there's somebody there directing traffic, pulling traffic out, so that it doesn't back onto Marcus Garvey. And the police is always there for guidance. If you don't know where to go from there, we're there to show you.
And with their bright neon yellow uniforms and similarly colored bikes, the P-STEP members are hard to miss. The division has also been attracting attention and commendations for its sustained presence on the roadways and its role in restoring public safety, reducing crime and disorder, and improving public trust in the police.
But the truth is that we have been getting a lot of complaints. On a daily basis, you'll see taxi men, you'll see them lined up in lines coming down. We have people honking horn to show their appreciation. People are able to tell us by Twitter or other social media how much they appreciate us. They're able to go home on time to their family, etc. And all it takes is for us to just be present.
As the JCF continues its work, the public is being asked for full cooperation.
I just want to say to the public that P-STEP is new, but policing is not new. And we are here to maintain the peace. Just want to work with us and to ensure that we have a free flow of traffic in the corporate area.
P-STEP is just one example of the JCF working to serve, protect, and reassure with courtesy, integrity, and respect for the rights of all.
Hey, ready to pack? Remember, the importation, manufacturing, distribution, and use of single-use plastic carrier bags, or scandal as we call them, plastic straws, and styrofoam containers will not be allowed come January 1, 2019. Plastics do not decompose readily and end up in our environment as solid waste for many years, stifling our animals, plant life, and our livelihoods too. Rethink, refuse, reduce the use of plastic. Start using environmentally friendly packaging. The ban on plastics is effective as of January 1, 2019. Preserve our land. Support the plastic ban.
Thanks for hanging with us today. Please visit our social media pages so you can remain in the know while we're off screen. Click on any of these handles displayed and you may find us there. You may also download our app to be notified of our new posts, or send us an email if you have a comment or a question. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 crawl spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
I'm Shani Jajo, and you're watching Business Access.
Wealth Magazine Business Access is brought to you by FX Trader.
FX Trader, your foreign exchange place from Grace Kennedy Money Services.
The ability to transform one's circumstances into profitable business opportunities is one of the most invaluable skills among successful entrepreneurs. On this episode of Business Access, Charles Mattox shares with us about his extensive experiences in an array of professions and how his diagnosis as a diabetic has transformed into a viable business enterprise.
I was conceived in Jamaica. Does that make any sense? And actually born in the other Jamaica, which is Brooklyn, right? Born in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn for a couple of years, probably, I would say, until I was about 7 years old. Had a great life out there. My mom and dad obviously were together. Then we moved to Long Island. And so I was raised in Long Island, a pretty much fairly white neighborhood. So literally I was almost like the only black kid around there. And so I was able to get a really diverse upbringing and background, just being around different people. I'm thankful that my mother left Jamaica to come here. She started off as, I want to say maybe like a maid or something like that in somebody's house. And then she progressed to being, having a very high position at Merrill Lynch. My mother and father separated when I was about 7 years old. So it was just pretty much me by myself. So I would spend, my mother would go to work and I would come home and just pretty much just have the time to myself until she got home from work. I think that time allowed me to kind of nurture and grow myself. My uncle was Bob Marley. That's Bob Marley. And I met him twice before he passed, and both times were pivotal times in my life, you know. The first time I met him, it was, of course, at a hotel. And I remember going into his room, and the room was just full of ganja smoke. And sat on the bed, and we started to talk. Immediately came right over to me. And, you know, I was young, but he then came over to me, and we spent some time, and he took me out of the room. He didn't want me, you could tell that he didn't want, so we went in the hallway and was just playing some football. And then the second time, actually, I met him was once again at a hotel. And I remember I was more focused on games. There were some games, some board games and some card games and stuff like that. And then he was sitting in the living room. And this is the time he was going through, obviously, the chemotherapy and things like that and procedures. And I remember sitting down next to him. It was a dark room, just like this. And he had a bag, a paper bag on the table, and his locks were in there. And I asked him, I said, well, why is your hair in here? And he said that he was sick. I knew I had this bloodline in me, and I felt like I can do something with that bloodline. And that, so really early on, I wanted to make music. Actually, I saw a video. Remember, I was real young. And it was a video of LL Cool J. And I thought, man, how could a brother live like that, you know? So I didn't live too far from him. I lived in Long Island, he lived in Queens. So I decided at this point I had bought this little car, my first car. Worked hard for that too as well, worked in a deli. And I just went to where I heard that he lived, the part of the neighborhood that he lived, and just started driving around asking people where LL Cool J lived. And I eventually, literally, it was overnight. Somebody showed me where he lived, so I went and just knocked on the door. And I remember his grandmother came out, me, who you want, you know? So I said, yeah, I'm looking for LL. He's not here. So I said, all right, well, and now I know where he lives. I'm gonna come back every day. So one day I came back and I saw this limo outside. So I said, all right, here's my chance. So walked up to him and I said, you know, LL, I'm Charles, whatever it was I said. And he was like, yo, how you doing? You know, I'm like, all right. So I said, well, you know, I'm trying to be a rapper. And he said, well, let me hear something. So here I go. I didn't even have anything memorized. I went back to the car to get my piece of paper that had my raps on it. And here I'm shaking like this. And he said, you know, so he said, yo, man, I'm going out of town right now. He said, when you get back, hit me up. I thought, wow. So of course, you know, I waited a couple of days and I'm back at his house every day, and then came back again and he was there. And grandmother came and he came to the door and he said, come in. We went downstairs and just hung out downstairs with him for a few, and I'm like, oh my God, my life changed. Then I kept doing it again and I can't find him another time. And he said, man, one day you're gonna be a star. He said, it's serious. So that just kind of led to us being friends and working together and kind of living with him for a while. We worked on a song called She's Rockin' that was about Janet Jackson, and it was an amazing experience, you know, because I learned a lot from him. At that time in New York, it was lovely. That's when Puffy was getting his start. That's when everybody in the music industry was pretty much getting their start. So you were running with these cats. And you know, I had a lot of offers and things like that, but I remember how I got my full offer was from Russell Simmons, who owns Def Jam. I started to do music and did very well. And at that point, I had my son. And I remember seeing Sesame Street. So I had a really fantastic manager. So I said, Angela, I said, listen, I want to be on Sesame Street. And she said she had a friend who was an actor, which was Michael T. Williamson, who played Bubba in Forrest Gump. So she introduced me to him. He set me up with an agent. And then, you know, when you get an agent, they don't just focus on Sesame Street. They start sending you out on everything. So they started sending me out on these auditions. I had no idea what an audition was. And I just started booking right away as a kid. I'm just booking all of these big movies and I'm like, wow, you know, I mean, so me and him actually became very good friends, and so that kind of really got how I got into film. I think the first film I did, I played a rapper. And then from there, I remember one incident that happened. It was this lady who is like one of the biggest casting directors in Hollywood, Deborah Aquila. She cast everything from Shawshank Redemption to Spider-Man, you name it. And she loved me for whatever reason. I remember going in there for an audition, and you could tell the lady wanted me to get this role. And I was stinking so bad it wasn't even funny. And she said, Charles, she said, don't worry about it. We're gonna work together. So at that point I went home and I thought, man, you know, here I have all these amazing opportunities, and I said, I'm not gonna let this happen again. So another audition came up. It was called The Summer of Ben Tyler, with James Woods and Elizabeth McGovern. So I remember I went home and I studied. Came back, it was just me and her in a room just like this. And I literally brought the lady to tears. And that was, you know, my first leading role where I actually played Ben Tyler in the movie. So from that point on, I kind of said, I'm gonna take this very serious, and you know, went on to star in some other great movies. I found out I had type 2 diabetes and couldn't grasp it. I thought I was gonna die.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa-la-la-la-la? 60 advertising spots, 10 crawl spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
One day we were walking into a restaurant and my son said, wouldn't it be cool to see real people make meals on TV? And at that time it was like Iron Chef and things like that, and I thought, wow, that is a good idea. So I thought, I came up with this whole concept which was called the Poor Chef. And I thought, you know, we're all, you know, if you're a chef or even a doctor, but you're the broke doctor, you're still an expert at what you do. So I think we're all poor chefs in a way. So I was really appealing to the food lover in all of us. So I came up with the Poor Chef, and I went to a local ABC television station in Orlando, and they loved the concept. And I thought, wow. So literally it just took off from there, and that led to, you know, appearances on everything from CNN, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Sauces, books, and so from that little idea, it led to all of this other stuff. I found out I had type 2 diabetes. It was just, you know, at that point I was going to the gym, I'm lifting all of these weights and everything like that, and thought I was healthy. And then one day, it was over a weekend, and I was just using the bathroom a little too much. And I thought I was just gonna go to a local doctor. It was a Saturday. I thought I was gonna go to a local doctor, tell him some story, get some antibiotics, and just go home. And then he came back out and he said, do you have a history of diabetes? And I thought, diabetes? I didn't even know what diabetes was. And he wanted to give me medication. And I thought, this can't be right. I mean, how did I go from this to this so fast? So I walked out, I said, no, I don't want any medication. You know, I'm gonna figure this out on myself, on my own. Because I couldn't grasp it. I thought I was gonna die. You know, I literally thought, you know, a disease, I've got a disease. You know, so that kind of led me to the next phase of my life, where I was doing the whole celebrity chef thing, and it was fantastic. But I realized I didn't get started in the business to do that. So this was a welcome opportunity for me, because I realized that there wasn't anyone like me in diabetes if I wanted to become an advocate and make it into a business opportunity, right? So then I just started to, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna engulf myself in diabetes. And that's when I started to do my documentary, The Diabetic You, and then just really take off from there in diabetes, you know, to where we're at right now, where I'm probably one of the biggest faces in the world in diabetes. I just released a new cookbook with the American Diabetes Association. I'm a Blue Circle champion with the International Diabetes Federation, which is a big honor. You know, I speak all around the world for diabetes. Just got back from Australia speaking out there. We're shooting my documentary in India right now for diabetes. It's been an amazing ride. You know, in Jamaica, we just fed almost 1,000 children at Stella Morris for World Diabetes Day. So it's actually allowed me to find my true purpose, I feel, in life, which is giving back in this way. Me being able to take something as bad as per se as diabetes, I saw a ray of light in that. I realized once again that there was no young black face in diabetes. So I saw a way to be able to engage the diabetic and the health community in taking my message of health and nutrition through the food that I was making to others around the world who are in need of better nutrition, of inspiration. So I think that even in the worst of circumstances, that if you keep a positive attitude, you can turn even the worst of circumstances into something that could be beneficial, whether it's a business opportunity or just a life opportunity. While I might have been cooking healthy at times, I wasn't living healthy at times, because when you're your own boss, you work very hard. So I was up, you know, I was going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, up at 7, eating very bad late at night. You know, I thought ginger ale at times was better than Coca-Cola, so I would drink ginger ale because I think it had ginger in it, right? And eating a lot of processed foods, because late at night you're eating, you know, sandwiches, you're eating maybe some potato chip, things you shouldn't be eating. Anytime you're up late at night, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing most of the time, right? So I realized that I had to look inside myself. So I looked in the mirror and I thought, man, number one, I gotta lose some weight. Number two, I gotta change the way I'm eating. So literally, I had gone vegetarian for probably about 6 months and lost probably about 20 pounds. So I knew I needed to change who I was as a person, physically and mentally and spiritually. It definitely changed the way I cook on the show. So obviously I went from certain meats, certain ingredients to just a more healthy perspective. So I'm going on my second cookbook right now. Both are based on healthy cooking. So obviously my whole life changed as far as the way I cook and what I present to other people. My goal was, through my documentary, I had a whole plan. See, I wanted to be, if you look at like Michael Moore, who's a very famous director, people don't per se buy into Michael Moore because he makes fantastic films. They buy into Michael Moore because of Michael Moore. So they know that he's controversy. So he's more of a personality. So I realized that I needed to be more of a personality, and I needed to be the face of diabetes if I was gonna make this movie a success. Because I looked at the success he had. Michael Moore, the film on Fahrenheit 9/11 grossed over $250 million US. It's a lot of money. So I looked at that and I thought, you know what, if I become the face of diabetes and this film is a success, I could be very successful with this documentary. So that was my goal, was to build my brand in diabetes so that people would then say, okay, he's legitimate, you know, we love what he's doing, and this is why we need to see this documentary. So it was a twofold chord. Was it about giving back? Of course, but it was also seeing an opportunity as far as business. Even sometimes I look at, let's say, Martin Luther King, or I look at Gandhi, and at times I feel like I'm the Martin Luther King or the Gandhi of diabetes, or what I do. But at the same time, you don't want to be homeless doing what you do, because the healthcare companies, the pharmaceutical companies, these guys are making billions of US dollars, right? So you have to look at this also as something that can be sustainable for yourself, because the more you are able to bring in, the more you can help other people, right? So if you're poor, you can't bring in, you can't help too many people because you can't even help yourself. So realizing that if we looked at this as a business and then treated this as such, that we can be very successful and our engagements could even be more. We can help people here, we can help people there, we can really give back. I brought a great team together who their lives have changed because of the work that we're doing. So now they're able to get a good income. We're able to now give back to people and change their lives. So it's creating a win-win opportunity through helping, through giving back. The transition from diabetes, where we had the Charles bar and things like that, came from wanting to build this brand, build this empire.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
When I was doing the Poor Chef, cookbooks came, a spice line came, sauces came, things like that. But the transition from diabetes, where we had the Charles bar and things like that, came from wanting to build this brand, build this empire based on diabetes. And for about a year, I just was having fun doing it. I didn't understand the business of it until one day I said, man, I better turn this into a business, because it is just that. As I turn this more into a business, I've always obviously been into production, always been into just being creative. So as you're creative, you want to then, create other projects, create other forms of revenue, diversifying yourself so that your brand, because I don't want to be some old chef. I don't want to be, I want to be someone who, because there's a couple of old chefs who didn't get anything out of the business, right? They leave the game and they didn't win the game, So I wanted to win this game, not just be a chef. Right now we're doing Conversation in the Kitchen, which is airing locally in Jamaica. It'll air in other Caribbean islands, then also in New York, Canada, things like that. I call it bait for the shark. Obviously, I've got a major documentary that's going to be seen on CNN that we've been shooting for the past 3 years around the world called Diabetic You, which is my baby. It's telling the story of my life with diabetes and other lives around the world with diabetes. We've also got the first ever diabetes reality show, which is like The Biggest Loser but of diabetes, which is a tremendous project, which has the potential to be an international hit. And then we've got a couple of other really good projects. Life is good, we're very profitable. We're growing. Obviously, there's always room for growth, but we're all happy. Life is good. The checks are coming. My thing is not just to, work a job. My thing is not just to come home and just pay the bills. I want to excel. I want to exceed. I want to run with the bulls. I want to fly with the eagles. I'm not scared to ask for something. I'm not scared to get rejected. I'm not scared to, even like right now with diabetes, because funding at times is not always easy for what I'm trying to do. But then I go back to thinking of someone who is sitting in a hospital bed right now, who has some terrible complications from diabetes. And I think, does this person care whether Charles is knocking on a door or begging somebody to help support something with diabetes? They don't care. They just want the help. So that's how I think. I think that, you know what, this is for them. Diabetes affects the workforce because obviously if you're sick, you can't come to work, right? When we think of not only the lack of work that will come, if you're sick and you're not telling your boss you're sick, if you're lethargic, if your mind is not focused, if you're calling in days, it's going to affect your company. So once again, being able to address the company and being able to address attacking diabetes before it affects the productiveness of the company is very important. Most people believe that the pill or a pill will just help you out, but they don't change, they don't lose weight, they don't exercise, they don't have a goal, they don't have a plan. So it's a really complicated circle, you know, that we've got to change. The effects of what I've been doing, I gauge that on a few things. I gauge it on the replies and the feedback that I get from the people based on the lives that we've changed. I base it on the success that comes with that. Like, I get emails and calls to speak in places that I'm like, you know what am I doing speaking in front of, you know, in front of these group of scientists and doctors, and you know, I charge them a ridiculous amount of money. You know, I just got one I'm speaking to in Boston, and you know, to be asked to do that stuff means you're going in the right direction. For people of that stature, in those positions, to call you and want you to engage doctors and scientists and people in the pharmaceutical and healthcare world means that you're doing something right. So I base it on a few different things, and also the success we're having amongst, you know, my team and my company. So, but really with the people. I go back to what my uncle said, you know, if my life is for me alone, I don't want it. So wealth for me wealth is not based on finance at all. You know, I'm a spiritual person. I don't want to keep beating that in, but at the same time, I don't mind beating that in. I don't mind beating that drum. But wealth for me is not based on anything that has to do with finance, unfortunately. I know this is Wealth Magazine, but you may want to hear that, but it's not based on finance. It's based on what you acquire through your life journeys. In diabetes, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to spread a message, and I'm here to kick it up. I'm here to stir it up, because if you don't do that, you get forgotten. So I'm the rebel of this.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to another PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum, the third in the series for 2018. Business Access TV is here to bring you all the highlights. Today's theme, Disaster Risk Management for Business Continuity. I'm your host, Gareth Williams. Stay with us.
And welcome to the PSOJ's third President's Forum for 2018. We have dubbed this one the Disaster Risk Management for Business Continuity mini seminar. Big words, big long sentence. We can't get into anything too complex this morning. At least I can't. Well, first of all, because I can't manage complex, right? I tend to try and stay with simple and direct. And in order to get across a point, I am going to stay with plan. The panelists will get into the detail. If you do not plan for recovery, if you don't plan for disaster, especially when you don't have large resources, and even when you do, you are going to take a hit. You're going to take a serious hit. And this is something that we must know as individuals, as members of the business community, as governments. You can mitigate what is going to happen by anticipating it and planning for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's no secret that natural disasters impose remarkable losses on our nation's economy and by extension on the Caribbean's economy and development every single year. Last year's estimated total cost for the region was $215 billion US. And I'm sure the panelists will tell you all those gross and terrible details. That recovery process will go past my lifetime. So we must confess also that notwithstanding the decision from one of the most powerful people in the world that there is no such thing as climate change, the trend in natural disasters shows no decrease. And so there's an urgent need for the states and all partner organizations to make disaster preparedness and risk reduction, especially at the business level, a priority. If we're being honest with ourselves, we will admit that the campaigns leading up to the hurricane season are never really as comprehensive enough as they should be. We have silos of information, silos of planning, silos of behavior. We need to open those walls and share. And this is the other purpose of this seminar from the PSOJ's point of view. We need to establish the linkages to understand what it is we each other are doing so that we don't duplicate and that when something happens, we know where we can get what. Okay? So that's the other theme that I would like to encourage. And I have been speaking about this and will continue to speak about participative democracy. We have a tendency to say, once we have voted, it's the state's business to take care of us. That used to happen on the plantation. We're not on the plantation anymore. We must take care of ourselves and each other. So I will continue to stress the participative nature of our activities in this country we call our own. The reality is we can't change where we live and do business, but we can adapt and plan proactively to mitigate against disaster impact.
The IMF, in its recently published book entitled Unleashing Growth and Strengthening Resilience in the Caribbean, dedicated many pages to talking about fiscal challenges in the Caribbean, coping with natural disasters. The IMF's research shows that since 1950, more than 12,000 natural disasters have been registered globally. During that same period, the Caribbean has been hit by 324 natural disasters. So you might say the 324 looks like a small number when compared with the 12,000, but the research shows that the economic impact of these 324 natural disasters in the Caribbean has been substantial, exceeding US $22 billion in constant 2009 dollars over the period 1950 to 2016, and those figures may be consistent with what you know. Contrast this $22 billion US dollars to the cost estimated at about $58 billion globally, and you get a sense of the magnitude of the vulnerability of our tourism-dependent economies in the Caribbean. So we in the Caribbean have suffered about 38% of the global damage from natural disasters. Collectively, our little islands with 42.5 million people compared with approximately 7.5 billion people in the rest of the world, and you can see that we have gotten more than our fair share of disaster. I am pleased to say that we have put in motion and are far along with our analytical work that will guide the eventual establishment of a policy framework for disaster risk financing at the national level ahead of a disaster. It will be amply consulted with local and international stakeholders. It will be based on the most recent specialized technical analysis available. In the end, what we envision is that we will have a portfolio, a suite of products for different levels of disaster, and a transparent investment plan to mitigate harm to people and damage to infrastructure. So we will continue to maintain a contingency in the budget to deal with those high-frequency events that have relatively low levels of damage. Rather than the one product that we have now, which is the CREF, that only kicks in. CREF means, catastrophic insurance that only kicks in if there's a catastrophe. We envision different market-based products with quick disbursement features. We'll utilize the market for contingency lines of credit and catastrophic bonds, all within our envelope of affordability.
We'll be right back with much more from the PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 for all spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
We have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would kill people.
Welcome back to the PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum under the theme Disaster Risk Management for Business Continuity.
It only takes a spark, they say, to get a fire going. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, active or not active, the ODPEM and the Disaster Risk Management Organization of Jamaica is ready. The rain events of June 2017, March to June 2017, cost us $4 billion in loss, 0.2% of GDP. That was just rain. A trough came over us, and 0.2% of GDP was lost. Can you imagine what would happen if we had a tropical cyclone? The events in Montego Bay, November 22nd, 91.5 millimeters of rainfall occurred in 4.5 hours, flooded some 27 communities, $37 million in losses. The ODPEM continues to remain at the forefront of disaster preparedness in Jamaica and, yes, in the region. Our preparedness and our preparation programs never stop. We don't wait for the 1st of June to put things in gear. They're always happening. Multiple training activities in shelter management, first aid, emergency operations, damage assessment continues. Public information is a normal part of our processes. Shelter preparations. Right now we have some 700 shelters across the island which are all certified, equipped, management team in place, ready for the first sign of an event. When we have these events, I know people go home, they batten up, they take their precautions, they stock up. But I am not sure where we are as businesses in Jamaica. I am not sure how many businesses in Jamaica have plans in place, large or small. And let me tell you, in a former life, I was involved with occupational safety and health. And one of the things I found very disturbing is that most of the companies that had these plans were companies that were either owned by an overseas entity or traded overseas. Our local companies did not bother with it. There's no law that says that they have to have it. And they don't. Many do not have it. And so the question is, where is your alternate site for your office? What if the facility that you now occupy were to be compromised by, yes, a hurricane or an earthquake? Do you have somewhere else that you can go to and run business? How is your information system platform set up? How is it organized? Where can you replicate data from? Can you go to another site, plug and play, if your server in your physical building were to go? Ladies and gentlemen, your recovery will depend and will tell the country where we sit. We are now in the process, working alongside the UNDP, of rolling out a governance continuity plan, a continuity of governance plan. And this is the plan that deals with the macro picture of how government continues after an impact. But it cannot happen without the private sector.
So we are vulnerable to a range of hazards. You name them, and we are exposed to them. We are ranked as the 3rd highest country to be exposed to more than 3 hazards across the world. And what that means to us is that we have to be prepared for all of them. Being prepared has to do with steps that we take to prevent an emergency from happening. It has to do with the steps that we take when the emergency is happening. And it also has to do with steps that we take after the emergency has occurred. And I think that is what we were looking at more this morning, the continuity of business. How does someone get their business back up and running after a major shock? And so we're saying to persons that you have to now sit, and a plan has to be put in place for that. And that plan could be one sheet of paper. Yes, it could be as simple as that. What are the things that you have that could cause your business to collapse? What are the things that you have that could impact your business adversely? And if you have identified those, can you now take steps to prevent that from happening?
So the theme of my presentation is a call for action with respect to disaster risk management for business continuity. So just to share with you some of the terminology that the Government of Canada uses: EM for emergency management, ERT for emergency response team to get our internal teams ready and ramped up whenever there's a crisis. And we follow the Incident Command System, ICS. So with the impact of climate change, we would all agree that it is expected that every year the hurricane season is becoming more precarious. The strength and intensity of major hurricanes, as we saw in the last 2 seasons, is of grave concern to us all. We all have to contend with the unique global political climate as well, with diminishing resources and capacity limitations. So before moving to Jamaica, I worked in Colombia for 3 years as the Readiness Security Program Manager at the Embassy of Canada. Colombia has to contend with earthquakes and other types of disasters as well, criminality, etc. And during my time in Colombia in 2014, I had the great opportunity to pursue an executive education program at Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government called Leadership in Crises, taught by professors Arnold Howitt and Herman Dutch Leonard. And I brought the text today, Managing Crises, Responses to Large-Scale Emergencies. So one of the ideas I wanted to share with you is what the professors talk about, a comparison of the response modes for routine emergencies and crises emergencies. How is a crisis defined? By the scale, by the novelty of the type of crisis that we have to contend with. So if the crisis is obviously so large, we have to approach it entirely differently to deal with it effectively. So just to share with you some frames of reference for the response mode between routine and crises. So how does our situational awareness and expertise have to be for a crisis? It has to be, our expertise has to be low, but with an openness to recognizing the novelty that is necessary. Our decision-making has to be cognitively driven and analytic. Our skills required, incompletely specified, but creativity and improvisational ability are important. How about our leadership? Adaptive, comfortable sharing authority, skilled in eliciting ideas from the team, and innovative. How about our organizational structure? It has to be flattened for solution development. It has to be more hierarchical for design, hierarchical for execution. How about execution? It must be fault tolerant because solutions have been improvised and are thus not fully tested or practiced. So the professors say that, and I'll read, the ability to routinize emergency responses is an enormous organizational strength and permits responders, through experience and advanced planning, to deal quickly and effectively with a host of critical circumstances. Moreover, the ability to look ahead, to imagine future challenges, and make effective plans. We need to assemble the necessary resources, train personnel in advance of the occurrence of an emergency to transform the potential crises into a more manageable and thus routine event.
It doesn't matter if you have a small business or a big company with fare from abroad. You have to be ready. You have to be prepared. You have to plan in ahead in order to face any problem that can be caused, but it could be even a disease. Remember when Zika affected the region, the Caribbean region, also the tourism was affected. Most of our countries, almost all of the countries in the Caribbean depends on tourism, and anything can impact, any detail can impact that business. And for us that we are on the energy sector, on the oil industry, the success of the small businesses of the countries is part of our business as well. It is not, okay, it's ready. It is not only us to be ready, also our customer need to be ready. And that's one of the reasons why we are glad to share our experience here with you.
Now we'll take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We've got much more highlights right after these messages.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
As As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 crawl spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, we are at the PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum under the theme Disaster Risk Management for Business Continuity. Let's join our presenter on stage.
What I'll be discussing this morning is Ray and Neview's experience with one particular disaster event which brought home to us the importance of properly organizing and planning for any type of emergency. So it's the experience I'll describe is not a natural disaster, but the lessons learned is applicable to any emergency events that you might face. Ray and Nevew had been operating on Spanish Town Road for several years without any significant incident. But on the 1st of December 2009, that all changed. An area that we repair barrels that we use for aging rum, at 5 o'clock, a worker in that area discovered what he thought to be a fire. Just to give you a scale of the event, we lost approximately 59,000 square feet of infrastructure. We lost our electrical grid on the compound. We lost 2 warehouses that stored over 14,000 barrels of rum, and we lost almost 1 million liters of absolute alcohol of rum of various ages. You can imagine the amount of calls that I got the night wondering if Ray and Nevew was out of business and if my friends could continue to get rum after the event. So what did we learn from that event? Although we had, or we thought we had, established emergency response plans and systems that could deal with any eventuality, when the actual emergency occurred, we found that to be not the case. There were deficiencies that were highlighted, some of which included the preparedness for the eventuality. Because we hadn't had an incident for some time, we did not put training as a priority. It is key for employees to know when an event occurs, what are the things to do automatically. We did drills, but the drills turned out to be evacuation drills. There was weakness in command and control. We didn't establish a proper incident command post from where all the directions were given at the time of the emergency. Access control was also weak. There was a point where the managing director and the prime minister themselves were next to the fire while it was going on. I don't think that is a smart thing to do, given the nature of alcohol fires. We also had identified to us weakness in our resourcing specific to the emergency. In this case, it was an alcohol fire. Specific to alcohol fires, you really need alcohol-resistant foam. You need to have copious amounts of water. We were not prepared for that. And communication, also key in the event of an emergency. Who is that single point of contact for the outside world that will get the information accurately and on time? Internal communications, are we sure that everybody who needs to respond to the emergency is getting the right message? All those things we found to be deficient. Coming out of the experience, we made several recommendations, some of which have been achieved. The key ones being the improved emergency response framework, our improvement in our disaster response plans, and the fact that we initiated business continuity, which I'll discuss shortly. It was made clear after the event that we needed to ensure that our plans conformed to the principles of emergency management, which you see there. So we had to ensure that whatever system we came up with for future eventualities addressed the mitigation of the emergency, right? Trying to prevent it in the first place, preparation of our teams, ensuring they know what to do in the event of the emergency, the actual response to the emergency, make sure that those plans are properly documented and understood, and how do we recover as quickly as possible after the event. There are several components of business continuity, as I'm sure you are aware. We have been focusing in the last several years on the emergency response component to ensure that we are as prepared as possible, both through documentation and preparation of the teams to respond to likely emergencies. As part of the Campari Group, we have the benefit of a crisis management plan, and our disaster recovery, certainly as it relates to information technology, is well advanced. Where we need to do work, and the intention is to start that in earnest by the end of this year, is the business recovery aspect. So we have done ad hoc business impact analyses, but we need to do it more comprehensively, and so we can put the complete business continuity plan together. So as soon as possible after an emergency, we can be up and running effectively. For MSMEs that don't have the kind of resources as large businesses, such as Jerry and Neville, my advice is don't worry about that you don't have the kind of resources that larger companies have. Scale your response to the resources that you do have, but have a plan as to what to do. So, for example, you may not be able to own a generator, but you need to have a plan. What do I do if my power goes out? Can I operate my business by candlelight? Can I buy a small UPS that will help me? So those are the kinds of things you need to think of, alternatives that you can manage within your resources, but you have to have a plan. That is the first step in getting prepared for an emergency.
This time around, the theme was disaster risk management and for business continuity. Okay, and what we are trying to do, the approach that we're trying to take is to sensitize first our members and the wider community to the importance of planning. Right? We can't stop natural disasters. They're the acts of God. But what we can do is mitigate the consequences by anticipating the level of risk, anticipating the vulnerabilities, and protecting ourselves against them by preparing for them. So one of the things that the PSOJ is trying to work on with ODPM is the development of a disaster plan template, a standard plan that small businesses and medium-sized businesses can look at and fit their circumstances into it. So for the next staging of our President's Forum, we are looking at customer service promotion and forum that will deal with the elements of customer service in Jamaica. Customer service in Jamaica needs improvement. So that is an area that we are considering for the next forum.
That brings us to the end of our coverage of the PSOJ President's Breakfast Forum. Until next time, I'm Garth Williams. Stay tuned to Business Access TV, serious about business.
I'm Shani Jajo, and you're watching Business Access. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Chinese employed Kung Fu, a movement therapy to relieve pain. The Greek physician Herodotus described an elaborate system of gymnastic exercises for the prevention and treatment of disease in the 5th century BCE. And the Roman physician Galen described interventions to rehabilitate military injuries in the 2nd century CE. Essentially, people have always found ways to deal with pain, but it was not until the beginning of the early 20th century that a specialty area in modern medicine called physiatry, or physical medicine and rehabilitation, was formed. The area is still relatively new to Jamaica and even the Caribbean, so this week we hope to shed some light on the career by looking at the path Dr. Paula Dawson took to become a physiatrist, presently the only one in the country.
My name is Dr. Paula Dawson, physiatrist, physical medicine and rehabilitation physician. I am the medical director at the Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean and a consultant and lecturer at the University of the West Indies. I have always been interested in sports. I went to Mount Alvernia High School in Montego Bay. Yeah, Mount Alvernia. And then I did sixth form at Immaculate. Thereafter, I went to the University of the West Indies for my first degree in biochemistry and zoology. And I was always active in sports. I got Champions Sports Woman of the Year. I captained the football team. I did track and field, hockey. I mean, I was the person that if you need somebody to pick up a sports team, go call Paula.
As with many of us, it's the love and passion for things in our youth that propels our career decisions. Dr. Dawson found the perfect marriage between sports and medicine.
For me, sports, the physical body was an important part of what I would want to do as a career. And I've always loved medicine, and I knew medicine was what my passion was going to be. Once I completed medicine, everyone specializes thereafter, and because my love was sports movement, I found physiatry. Physiatry was not known in Jamaica. It's still kind of unknown. It's more commonly found in first world countries like the United States and UK, Canada, and Australia. And a physiatrist is the person who would deal with musculoskeletal, so muscles and bones and tendons, along with the other doctors, orthopedic surgeons. But we are the physicians that look at, I don't want to make it too technical, but biomechanics. And so, for example, if you have a knee pain or back pain, we can diagnose it. We have a great medical school, so most people could diagnose what it is. But what a physiatrist will do is diagnose why you got it and how to prevent it. And so we are like movement musculoskeletal specialists. You're not only working with injuries from athletes or regular weekend warriors like you and I who are not competing, but you get to treat anybody with pain or with dysfunction. And so you kind of bring that person back to their maximum within the limitation of the disease. So if you have one leg, we will figure out how to get you a prosthesis so you can run if you have to. If you have a stroke, we will figure out how to get that side of the body that's weak or the language. If you have pain, I specialize in neck and back pain. When I was about to leave, I went to Professor Errol Morrison. He was the Pro Vice Chancellor at the time at UWI. And I actually went to him and I was like, Prof, I want to do this area, and people are telling me, don't do it because you won't find a job when you come back. And he's like, nonsense. He said, go and be a pioneer. I said, you will always find work. People will always have pain. People will always want improvement in function. And with his advice, and I spoke to a few other people, the current principal of the University of the West Indies, Archibald MacDonald, he was head of surgery at the time, and he was a mentor to me. And I spoke to him, and I wrote a letter to him, and I'm going away to the physiatry, can I get a job when I come back? And they're like, yeah, yeah. So every single year, I would write the head of surgery, the dean of medicine, and the principal. It was Kenneth Hall at the time. And I said, okay, I have 2 more years left, I have 1 more year left. So I would always write them, just because I always knew I wanted to come back home. I got several job offers. In fact, the recruiters are still emailing me for jobs in the States, because physiatry is a good area, it's a good career.
Let's examine a typical day in the life of physiatrist Dr. Paula Dawson.
On a day-to-day basis, I'll go to UWI and work at my clinic or teach, and then I'll come to my office, regular doctor's office hours. You know, you have your patients come in, you examine them. I have a day where I actually do procedures, what we call it interventional spine. So on the X-ray guidance, I will inject whatever it is around the spine to help to relieve pain, to improve function. I inject different things into muscles to help them to move, or in joints. You can have joint injections for pain control, for inflammation control. So my day-to-day is my clinic at UWI, teaching at UWI, working at the Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean, regular doctor's hours, and then my theater hours, where I actually go into the operating theater and I'll do procedures. I'm now at 129 Pro, the suites. It's an operating theater. My spine procedures, the epidural steroid injections, are done in an operating suite where you have a sterile condition and a C-arm, which is a special type of X-ray machine to help you to see where you're going, so you can put the medication safely in the spine. I also do the procedure at the University of the West Indies through the Tony Swaits wing as well. All right, so today we're here at the suites. So we're going to take you in theater and see how we can help you today. Okay. All right? Good. Go. All right, good. Good job. How are you feeling? Good. Yes. Any pain? No. Good. How was it? Good. Excellent. Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy who? Fizzy what? Are you a physiotherapist? Are you a medical doctor? I have the health insurance up to this day, telling patients who claim when they come to see me that I'm not a medical doctor after 8 years.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Yes, why not? I have to do it health, you know.
A whole lot of people feel back pain and neck pain and they don't know where to go. See, so if that you have a place where can I get that, a good for Jamaica people. Because right now they have feel all type of pain. Back pain, back pain, all type of pain.
Yeah, like because most of the time I have pain and doctor tell me that say like those things somebody can massage you.
That would be good if you have a place where you can deal with all of them things there. Which different from even public and even UC, as in go in public, they make you wait for long hours and things, as in.
Back pain, there. But you say foot and what you call it now, joints, that is taking over Jamaica. We need somebody can fix that. If that somebody can fix that, that's all the money I gonna make.
Specialization in the area of physiatry is still not offered in the country. But here are the basic steps should one desire to follow the path Dr. Dawson did.
A physiatrist is a medical doctor who did residency training in physical medicine and rehabilitation. So you first complete your medical degree. We don't have a residency program for physiatry in Jamaica. So I did my residency in the United States, 5 years. 4 years doing the basic musculoskeletal rehabilitation training, and then an extra year in spine, sports medicine, and musculoskeletal rehabilitation. So once you have a medical degree, if you want to get into the US system, you do what they call the USMLEs. Right, so it's a United States Medical Licensing Examination. My time it was like 3 exams. They call it step 1, step 2, and then a practical exam. And so I did that over a period of about 3.5 to 4 months. So you do step 1, it's computer-based. You can actually do it here in Jamaica if you want. I actually did mine in Florida. And thereafter, the practical exam, you have to fly to a site where they actually have regular people who act as patients. You have to show them how you can examine, you have to take a history, and you have to make a medical plan of management. So the requirement is a USMLE, you have to pass the board, so you're now able to practice in the United States. Once you're finished with that and finished with the residency, you now are board certified to practice physical medicine rehabilitation.
After completing medical school at UWI-Mona and passing her MLEs, Paula took the next step to begin her residency, which meant being more exposed to her area of specialty.
Thanks to the Student Loan Bureau, and I encourage everyone to pay back their student loan, through the Student Loan Bureau and scholarships, I was able to pay for medical school here in Jamaica and family as well. But once you get into a residency program, you actually have a job, so you earn. I did my residency in New York, Long Island Jewish Medical Center, Albert Einstein Graduate School of Medicine. And so I did my first year in general surgery and I loved it.
Doing real hands-on work is usually a part of training in the medical field. Practicing overseas can pose a myriad of challenges, but here's how it worked out for Dr. Dawson.
Our training at the University of West Indies is amazing. Your character is built. You know, you work hard, long hours, so you're well trained. You're trained to work under stress, under pressure, without sleep. Once you went to the United States, they have regulations that you can't work over 24 hours, which is kind of, for someone coming from a Jamaican system, is good. You know, it was hard work. I can't say it was easy work, it was hard work, but it wasn't challenging work because coming from Jamaica and the University of the West Indies, you're well trained.
After After residency, there comes a fellowship period.
Rehab Institute of Chicago is #1 rehab institute in the U.S. since 1991, and it's top for training, and they don't take international graduates. The fellowship spots that they have, only 2 fellowship spots are usually given out each year. And so I said, okay, I'm just gonna apply for the fun of it. I was driving one day on the highway and they called, and long story short, they said, can you come tomorrow to Chicago for an interview? I'm like, sure. Went for the interview, and by the end of the week, I was given the post. They said, we have 2 spots, you're our #1 pick, do you want it? And I said, of course.
Dr. Paula Dawson completed her studies in the United States, but remained committed to returning home to pioneer the physiatry profession.
So I loved Chicago, but I could not wait to come home. There's no place like home. Through dialogue and email, I was offered a job. I came back to Jamaica without a contract, but when you have someone like Professor McDonald and Professor Ivor Crandon, these are the guys who say, listen, physiatry, and they're forward-thinking, pioneering men. They know that the University of West Indies is a training facility, and physiatry is an integral part of medical training, and they had the vision, and they knew that they wanted that specialty there. In 2008, physiatry was introduced as a specialty at the University of West Indies. I must mention, though, that I am not the first physiatrist to be in Jamaica. There was another lady, and I came many years after her, though, but she would have been the first.
Through Dr. Dawson's work at the University of the West Indies, some amount of success has been made in highlighting the area of physiatry and the need to have more specialists.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Physi who? Physi what? Are you a physiotherapist? Are you a medical doctor? I have the health insurance up to this day telling patients who claim when they come to see me that I'm not a medical doctor after 8 years. And so physiatry is still not a known specialty in medicine. But even in the hospital, even though, which is a campaign that we're on to see how best we can make more people aware of physiatry. One of the ways that we have done it, and this is the dean, the current dean, Dean Fletcher, Horace Fletcher, they've incorporated physiatry in the curriculum for medical students and for physiotherapy students as a part of the course. So I teach one course in each area. And so we introduce the medical students to physiatry, and we also introduce the physiotherapy students to physiatry. The wonderful thing with that is I have at least one student from each class over the last 8 years who wants to do physiatry. I didn't have that opportunity as a medical student to know even what physiatry is, and now the medical students have the exposure of a physiatrist and being able to talk to someone about the area of physical medicine and rehabilitation, and the fact that we have one student in each class who is interested in physiatry is remarkable. And so I'm hoping for them to hurry up and come back. I hope they don't stay in the States, because you can get good job offers there. But I hope they come back, because you can only build and grow and be better. I mean, I have one child who said, we asked him what's his favorite hobby, and he says, my favorite hobby is walking, what we take for granted. So just the quality of life that you can bring to people, I would say, is my high point.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357, or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 crawl spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene.
Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad.
Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
This week on Career Moves, we've been taking a look at the field of physiatry, which is still relatively new to the Caribbean. So having completed studies overseas and come back home, where can one find jobs and what will the remuneration be like? Would it be worth it?
There are 3 physiatrists in the Caribbean. Actually 4 now, one finished last year. 2 in Barbados, 1 in Jamaica and 1 in the Bahamas. And you will not find, per se, a job vacancy advertised for a physiatrist in the Caribbean. It's a team approach, so you work with orthopedic surgeons, you work with neurosurgeons for the better quality of care for the patients. And you tend to find physiatry more where you have an academic setting. And so in Barbados, that's why you have 2. You have the Faculty of Medicine there. Bahamas, the University of the West Indies will have a site there as well. And so you more find the more specialized area of medicine where you have more academic influence, medical academic influence. The physiatrist in Bahamas works with her husband, who's an anesthetist. The 2 in Barbados, one does primarily prosthetics and orthotics. So he specializes in limbs, artificial limbs. And as I told you, physiatry is an area you can go any direction. So he loves, and he's very good at prosthesis. The other one is a sports medicine physician as well. For me, I love managing back pain. I think back pain has been, an enigma to some people, patients. Many times they're like, I can't get over this back pain. But for me, the approach to back pain is basic. It's a stepwise approach. And majority of patients will fall somewhere within that treatment. My facility, where I'm the medical director, Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean, we have a full team of rehab specialists. We have physiotherapists, occupational therapists, we have a neuropsychologist, a nutritionist. So we have the team that will work with the patients along with the physiatrist. So I'm not a therapist, but I work with very skilled therapists. And it's always a team approach. And ultimately the goal, whether you have pain or weakness or loss of use of some part of the body, the ultimate goal is better quality of life. As a physiatrist, remember first and foremost you're a medical doctor. And the remuneration for medical doctor, that's public knowledge that doctors can earn enough to live relatively comfortably. Physiatry is an area of need. People will always have pain. People will always be injured. People always look for more ways or better ways to be treated. And so you will always have people who will be seeking the services or the medical care from a physiatrist.
In the last 8 years, Dr. Paula Dawson has made significant contributions to the field and spreading awareness.
The high points of my career, I was invited once by the North American Medical Association to present in Hawaii in their annual conference on management of back pain. I love to teach, and so teaching and presenting at conferences, I would say, are my high points. I was given an award by Racers Track Club because I work with some of the athletes. I work with many of the professional teams, high school, non-professional teams as well. I've traveled with the national track and field team a few times in World Championships. 3 times per year we work with Bustamante Hospital for Children. We also have a team at UWI. So although my super specialization is muscles and movements and sports medicine and pain, back pain, I do see a lot of children. I see stroke patients for rehab. I see spinal cord injury patients. I see patients who've had cardiac events because you have cardiovascular rehabilitation. And just the look on especially the children's face when, we have a little child and several kids who in our program with cerebral palsy, they can't walk. And once they get the injection or the braces or the surgery and they're walking now, I have one child who said, we asked him what's his favorite hobby, and he says, my favorite hobby is walking, what we take for granted, so just the quality of life that you can bring to people, I would say is my high point.
Notwithstanding various high points that one can experience by practicing physiatry in Jamaica, there will be one major challenge that's yet to be fully overcome.
Challenges that you may have for physiatry in Jamaica is the lack of knowledge of what physiatry is. And I have colleagues, very close friends of mine, who will say, what you do again? You do that? So it's just the information of knowing what you do. And so we always try to educate through UWI or the papers or like Business Access TV to kind of show what physiatry is. Some people call it physiatry, some people call it physiatry. So one challenge is knowing what the specialty is. The second challenge is putting a team together. You have to talk to each other, you have to work with each other, and that can be challenging sometimes. There's always HR issues when you have many people in one place, but once you have a group of people who have the same goal, which is the patient recovery, you will always have a great team and your outcome will be a good one. My personal goal is similar to what one of my mentors says, where the area of general medicine will save people's lives, but physiatry will add quality to those years. And one of our slogans here at the Rehab Institute of the Caribbean, which is my slogan, is we provide medical care for function and performance. And so medical care functionally for whether an athlete or an old lady who just wants to go out in her garden, for you to be able to drive comfortably, to walk comfortably. So I provide medical care for function and performance, so painless, comfortable function. I say for young people and medical students or residents who want to switch to physiatry, I'd say it's a great area. When you have a team, you'll be stronger. So I'd say train, come back, let's form a team, and let's make it better.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Hi, I'm Richard Panduit, CEO for the Separate Group of Companies. You're watching Business Access TV. We're serious about business.
This week on The Good Life, the kids take over and showcase how important it is for them to keep fit and flexible. Learn how India Shirley manages her healthy lifestyle routine to pursue her gymnastic goals.
Are you guys ready? Yeah!
Hello, I'm India Shirley. I'm 12 years old and I love gymnastics.
From an early age, India has understood the importance of exercise and keeping fit to pursue her passion for gymnastics. She highlights how dedicated she is to her exercise routine to master this sport.
I've been doing gymnastics for 3 years, but before that I did synchro for almost 4 years, but I didn't like it as much. Synchro is a sport. It's like dancing in the water, and you have to be able to like hold your breath under the water for long periods of time and do little like different tricks. So synchro is kind of like gymnastics but in the water. So that made me want to grow towards gymnastics more. So I moved on to gymnastics and I've loved doing flips and going on the trampoline ever since. Every year for gymnastics, we go to a competition that everyone gets to do, and it determines if you get to go to a higher level or not, if you have all the skills for that next level. Well, for the 3 years I've been doing it, I've gotten a lot of medals and trophies and ribbons. It's the national team, so you have to try out for the national team, and if you make it, you get to go to different competitions representing your team, Jamaica. So I've gone to like Barbados, Baltimore, and different places around the world. Well, healthy lifestyle means to me is like if you can eat properly and keep your body in a good shape, you'll be less prone to like injuries and like sicknesses. It's very important because if you don't have a good health lifestyle, you can get out of shape, and even it doesn't matter how like heavy or the weight you are, it just matters how if you can handle that weight that you put on. I train 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. Some days, like if I'm really like tired or stuff, I'll ask my mom and she said I can take a break from this time. And for summer, we do it 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. But in like the Christmas term, we normally do like 5 hours and like 6 days a week. Because December is closer to the competition like season, which is January throughout April, so we have to get more practice time in the days so we get like better scores at the competitions. It's very important for kids to exercise because it doesn't really matter what age you are, you can still put on weight. And it's better to have an active like lifestyle when you're young, so when you're older you have like a routine that you know you can follow. Training is very hard sometimes. Some days you go there and feel like you can do anything in the world and it's easy and stuff. But other days you start crying and everything's just like hard and the pain, but you just have to go through it and try to push yourself. I was naturally flexible, but I need to start like pushing myself a little more because I'm losing some of that flexibility, but I'm still very flexible. In terms of skills, I've mastered like most of my tramp thing because tramp is like my favorite like event kind of things, but it's not a full event. The events are bars, beam, floor, and vault, but tramp is like a side event that helps you with like floor. But I'm better at tramp, so I like to do tramp, and I have more of my skills on that event. I'm naturally not as strong as other kids, so I had to put in more effort to try to get like the same strength capacity. So my mother is very involved with my gymnastics diet, which I love, so she'll be there to support me when I'm doing competitions or when I'm feeling down about gymnastics or like I can't get a skill. She'll be there to like encourage me to, yes you can, don't give up. Well, right now I'm pretty knowledgeable about like my lifestyle and stuff because, well, I train a lot and I like see other people doing stuff and see how they like have, if they have injuries or what they do to prevent injuries or how they practice every day. You shouldn't slack off on any days. You should always do your conditioning and stretches, and most importantly, never like eat too much junk food because then that will like throw off all of the other things. For every day, you should like keep stretching because you don't want your body to like tighten up and then like in a specific skill like split jump, you won't be able to like fully extend your legs. So I noticed that a lot of kids these days are on their phones or iPad just watching YouTube or playing video games, but some of them, they could just go outside, run up and down, do jump rope, climb trees and all of that. I would encourage like kids just to do like simple splits or different like simple things that they could like understand what to do and just try to do every day, so that like later on in life they'll be like very flexible still. The positive results of me being an active like child, I don't get sick as much. I rarely ever get sick. I can do more things with my friends and I can go out studying.
On your marks. Get set. Go! Go,
My family is very competitive. We like to like plank competitions or push-up competitions, and I also have a pull-up bar and a trampoline, so I like to do tricks on the trampoline or do like pull-ups or on the pull-up bar. Or my siblings and I would go outside and run up and down and play like hide and seek, but hide and seek tag, so you can run up and down and have fun. For those people who don't really have like things like trampolines or pull-up bars, you could use like a grill in your house and maybe like do pull-ups on that, or you go to like a door like frame and do like different like things. You can just be creative with your mind and try to figure out something to do.
Although India's very active lifestyle stems from her love for gymnastics, she underscores the other benefits of introducing the sport to kids, as well as her intentions for the sport.
Despite gymnastics being a minority sport, it can still carry us places. Like, for example, Tony-Ann Williams, she's a great gymnast that has gone to the Olympics for Jamaica. I think they should like put gymnastics in more schools because it gives the children a sense of discipline as well as like flexibility and strength. Gymnastics doesn't really affect my like out of gym life because I have a good time management, so I can do other like hang out with friends or study while I'm still doing gym. For some people, gymnastics is like a hobby or an activity they do, but for me, gymnastics is my life and I love doing it. So I hope that I can go to college gymnastics or the Olympics one day.
When we return, we show you what India has in mind for her peers.
Have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would kill people.
Guys, come on!
If you're just joining us, It's all about exercise and fitness for kids, by kids. Today's instructor is 12-year-old India Shirley.
Are you guys ready? Yes! Catherine, are you ready? Yes! Kiana, are you ready? Yes! Okay, this is the warm-up before the workout. We're going to do 5 exercises. The first one is a jumping jack. You guys already know what it is, but let me show you. Okay, ready? 20 jumping jacks. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good job. Okay, that was really good, guys. We're gonna go on to the second one. It's mountain climbers. So you're gonna go into a hollow body position, leave your legs open a little bit, and then you're gonna put your shoulders over your hands, and you're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Ready? Yeah! Ready? Go into the hollow body position. We're gonna do 10, guys. Ready? Remember, keep your shoulders over your arms. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Okay, guys, we're gonna do a top jump burpee with 5 push-ups. Let me demonstrate. Okay, about 5 push-ups. Ready? And it's gonna be 2 sets. Okay, guys, the 4th exercise is called Russian twist. So you're gonna go on the floor like this. You're gonna cross your knees and keep your knees together. You're gonna bring your hands on each side. Okay? Are you guys ready? Yeah! Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, guys, this is the 5th and final exercise. It's gonna be V-ups. Make sure when you're doing it, keep your head up and your core tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good job. That was round 1. We have 2 more rounds, so in all, it's 3 rounds. We're gonna start with box jumps. Ready? Go. Lower, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 more, 7, 8, 9, finish. Okay, guys, we're gonna do tricep dips. It's a rep of 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job, guys. Okay, guys, we're gonna do single leg squats. I'll show you how to. So you're gonna extend one leg, sit, put both legs in, stand. It's 10 reps on each leg. Come on, guys. Go. 1. Same leg, guys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 more, 3 more, 2 more. And last one. Good job, guys. Next leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 more, 4 more, 3, 2, and finally, 1. Okay guys, we're gonna do plank press-ups. So you're gonna start here. You're gonna keep your hips square, open your legs a little, go down, and back up. 10, okay, ready guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, and 10. Good job, guys. Next, we're going to do leg up and over. You're going to sit on the right side of your box. You're going to bring your arm back. You're going to bring your leg up and over, up and over. It's 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job, guys.
Exercise is very important to me because without exercise, then I wouldn't be able to do all the skills that I'm able to do. Apart from exercise, to keep fit, I eat healthy and not sit around and do nothing. I'm always on my feet.
I think exercise is important because it makes you get fit. To be fit, I go to swimming and gym.
Exercise is so important to me because doing a sport like gymnastics, which is very hands-on and in all areas you could get injured very easily, you have to do stuff to prevent injuries and also to keep the muscles strong. Most people are self-conscious about their body, and when they go to a beach, they would wear a one-piece instead of a two-piece. If they exercise, they would be able to wear a two-piece because they wouldn't be self-conscious anymore. My mom always told me that you can eat all you want when you're a child, but when you grow older, like 20, you start to get the fat, and then you could get obese, and it would be too late to exercise, and you'd try everything and it might not work.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Life will be right back.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to The Good Life. You would have missed 12-year-old India Shirley instructing her peers on a proper workout. Now let's continue and catch up with her mom, who shares her thoughts on the role parents should play in their kids' health and fitness.
Legs in front. Flexion. Draw your backs. Hands up. And hinge at the hips.
Hi, I'm Shani McGraham Shirley. I'm one of the owners of Chai Studios, and today I'm known as India Shirley's mommy.
Open your legs, point your toes, elongate the backs, pancake stretch, all the way up. Fingertips, walk your hands in. You're going to go again. Back straight, don't look at me, look at India. Walk it all the way up, pancake stretch, roll the thighs back, point your toes, harder, bring it in.
India has always been an extremely active and competitive child. Don't ask me where they get this competitive thing from, right? In our household, everything is a competition. From the kids are 2 years old come right up. Back in the day, if you think about you and I when we were youngsters, we didn't have all these electronics. We didn't stay inside morning till night if it was a weekend. We were outside running up and down and ramping. You were climbing trees, you were papa licking on the ground. It was always something using your bodies. So you find that kids who came from a generation that were more active, they actually have a fitter and healthier lifestyle. They're not as susceptible to the diabetes, the stress-related heart issues. But for those who have become very sedentary in their lifestyle, which is now the trend and what we're seeing with our youngsters, anybody between the age bracket of 7 and 18, it's been a very sedative lifestyle. It's affecting them. We have a lot of obesity with our children. They're putting on weight. We have a lot of childhood diabetes creeping in. And I think we need to really break it. Go outside, run up and down, have challenges with each other. The one bag of bend down, stucky and bull in the pen we used to play, our kids don't even know about those games anymore. Start having those true interpersonal relationships. Meet up with your friends and physically go do something. Go to the beach and actually swim. Go and run up and down outside. You can have fun physically doing things. I am a believer in kids live what they learn. You have to lead by example. My kids have seen me. Since I started having kids, I became more physically active. Everybody raises their kids differently. In my household, I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. One activity is mandatory. It's not up for, they can't choose. Oh, mommy, I don't want to do this. For my girls, they have to be introduced to dance. I find in my household, I think dancing gives great posture. It gives women great discipline. You don't have to be a professional dancer, but it gives a certain sense of security and confidence within a woman. So my girls all have to do dancing up until a certain stage. Yes? Now for my boy, he has to do taekwondo, another discipline sport. Whether he wants to continue it past his college years, that's up to him. But in my household, taekwondo is mandatory for him. Now outside of dance being mandatory for my girls and taekwondo being mandatory for my one boy, they also had to do swimming up until a point of competence. Competence is not just saving themselves. They had to master all 4 strokes. That's competence in my household. Then after those, they can choose any activity they want to choose. So with India, she chose gymnastics. With my son, he chose tennis. The youngest one, she's 7. She's now just trying to find herself. So she does both tennis and swimming and dancing. With that, when my kids choose a sport, I believe that they have to follow through. So you can't pick up a sport and 2 weeks after doing it, you're like, mommy, I don't like it anymore, can I stop? No, you've chosen this sport, you're going to finish it for the term. I paid my money. You best believe you're going to execute, because they have to learn continuity. They have to learn if they pick up something, they have to see it through to an end. So they can choose one term, mommy, I'm ready to try something else. So they have options, and then they have the mandatory sport that's part of, to me, their development. Everybody chooses what they want for their kids. It could be chess, it could be badminton, tennis, soccer, football, but kids have to know that they have to commit to something.
Push that front foot forward more, guys. Drop your hips towards the ground. Now, hands towards the ground, you're going to slide into a front leg split. And slide. Flatten it, flatten it, flatten it. Hand on the back, put your hand back, Good. Hold it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs in front together. Close them. Good. Shake out your legs.
Pertaining to gymnastics, it's still a minority sport. Very few schools overall are on board implementing it into their programs. But the president of our gymnastics association here, Nicole Grant, she's really pushing and getting it into some of the schools. So there are many of the primary schools right now that have started a gymnastics program. It's amazing to see what these kids are capable of doing with minimal to no equipment. When you see them doing flips and tumbles on concrete, it's admirable. Some of the schools, the primary schools and facilities, they'll even use a very thick broomstick and they support it by two ends and have the kids doing flips because they don't have bars. And when you see these kids up against kids who are at the gym facilities and they still compete in the same competitions, they do amazingly well, because when we talk about Jamaicans, we look about Watalawa, we just need an opportunity, any opportunity, and we can run with it. So with that being said, some of the schools need to just take more of a chance, implement, and unfortunately they can't do all events. They don't have the equipment to do the vault, tramp, beam, bars, but they can start with floor and do conditioning and flexibility. And that way it gives the kids an opportunity that maybe if they're sponsored, they can enroll in some of these gymnastics programs like at Nishida's Gymnastics or any of the other small groups that we have here. To be honest with you, everything in Jamaica right now is expensive. You know, it's unfortunate, but every establishment, they have their overheads, they have the light bill, they have their rent to pay. So unfortunately, half of these places can't have a very low reduced cost. They still have to be able to be operational. So it's a fine line and it's a balance. I know places, let's say like Nishida's, there's another gymnastics school, Jamaica Gymnastics or Ishimoto's. Many of them, they do offer programs to sponsor children if they feel that kids do have the ability. Despite that aspect, there is no reason why kids cannot be active. Even as simple as go outside and play with your children. When I literally play with my kids, you know, we're literally rolling on the grass outside. We're seeing who can do the longest plank, who can do how many push-ups, who can actually give mommy a piggyback ride. If them can't manage me, so two of them try lift me up. We just need to actually be more active and have fun. It does not have to be going to an established gym, going to a set-up facility that's teaching tennis and what have you. They sure you can fill up some empty water bottle and lift them up to build muscles. You don't have to put a dollar figure and buy big weights or fancy equipment. Learn how to use your body and get creative. There are absolutely no limitations to what you can do once you put your mind to it. Body weighted exercises, meaning using your own natural body weight, is just as effective and sometimes even more so than if you're going to be always picking up a weight. You need to learn how to handle your own body. A friend of mine, I won't scandal and call her name, she will say to me, Shandy, you know, every time I go to the bathroom, I squat 30 times before I actually sit on the toilet. Now, how practical is that? We all use a bathroom.
Still wondering how to wheel kids in to be more active at home?
What do you mean how you wheel them in? Wheel them in if you're washing clothes? You ever lift up a basket of heavy wet clothes to hang out on the line? You ever think how pained up you are after actually taking out all those wet clothes, wring it out with your hand and put it on the line? Give the kids more chores, it gives them responsibility, and believe me, that's a lot of exercise. Have them go and sweep up and rake up the yard. That's exercise right there. The constant picking down to pick up all leaves and put them in a plastic bag. That's exercise right there. Get creative. You get your house clean, you don't have to pay a helper, and the kids get exercise and a sense of responsibility.
Keep your legs together. Everybody up. Press, press, press. Straighten those legs.
And that's it for The Good Life this week, highlighting exercise for kids by kids. Keep fit, guys, and thanks for watching.